An important thing to know is that fear doesn't always mean that something is wrong or that you're not doing it right. It's just a signal giving you information about your own process. Welcome to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast, helping ambitious introverts who feel deep down that they can add more value to the world to really thrive in their work. I'm Mariela Franker, and I'll be sharing what I'm learning as an introverted entrepreneur, a natural productivity coach, and a mom while I build my business online and take care of my family and myself. In this podcast, you'll learn the mindset and the practical steps to naturally increase the impact of your work while making space for your unique strengths as an introvert. Hi, it's Mariela. I had a couple of interesting conversations with two people the past week around this topic of how do you know when it's time to move on from something or to move forward with something. And I've been thinking about these conversations, and I thought it might be helpful also to share that with you here today on the podcast. The first conversation that I had was with one of my clients, and she asked, when you start something new, and there's a sense of a bit of a fear around doing this thing, how do you know if the fear that you're feeling is a healthy fear? So we were talking about a new project that she's starting, and she noticed that she felt excited about it, but also nervous and a little bit afraid. And it's really interesting, that mix of emotions, right? I recognize that a lot myself as well. Personally, when I start something new, especially when it's something big or something that will have a big impact in my business, I always feel this mix of fear and excitement. I felt that the first time when I decided to change the focus of my coaching programs to habits, that's a recent example of that. When I finally kind of made that mental decision, I definitely felt that mix of fear and excitement at the same time. And it's really understandable that you feel that way when you do something new, because by definition, when you're starting something new, you don't really know if you can do it or not. You don't really know what's necessary. You don't really have all the context that you need around that topic. And on some level, that's oftentimes kind of scary. Especially if you're someone who likes to develop yourself, right? You like to learn things, maybe you're creating new things, as most of my clients are, then you're probably finding yourself in situations where you're breaking new ground, right? You're doing something that you've never done before in that particular way. So a certain level of fear around that is very normal, is very understandable. On a deeper level, you kind of need to figure out how to basically be in this new situation or this new direction. And on a practical level, you need to figure out how to actually take action on this idea. And I noticed that these are the two things that kind of bring up this feeling of fear. And these are exactly the things that we look at in my coaching programs on the individual level by connecting with your natural advantage, your unique process for solving problems. And it takes a bit of practice to learn how to work with that. It's something that comes so natural that we often don't think about it. And we think that everybody does it, but it's really unique for the individual. And I'm also still discovering new things about my own process all the time. An important thing to know is that fear doesn't always mean that something is wrong or that you're not doing it right. It's just a signal giving you information about your own process. I had that when I first decided to change the focus to habits and habit building. There was this mix of fear and excitement because on the one hand, it was exciting because I knew that was something that could really help my clients. But there's also that fear. It's like, I didn't feel good about calling myself a habit expert. I didn't feel like I was, right? But honestly, I didn't know what that meant. So there's the clue that sometimes we just don't have the context around that thing to know what it means within your own life. What does it mean to you? And that sense of fear a lot of the time has more to do with that missing context that will allow you to make a decision. I kind of feel the same is true around doubt. It's very normal to feel doubt, especially when you're making big decisions. So some people have a very clear vision when they're embarking on something new, what they want to do. But a lot of people actually don't have that clear vision. You may have a sense of it, of the bigger goal. For example, with habit building, I knew that was something that I found very interesting personally. I was always reading about it, always, thinking about it. And I could also see that it was one of the missing links for a lot of my clients, that once they had just one or two key habits in place that felt really good to them, very natural and easy to do. So it was easy for them to do it consistently. Other stuff would just flow from that. And it became much easier for them to make progress on their goals. But I didn't know exactly what it would look like. And I feel like a lot of the things that we see out there, it's more towards you need to have that vision. You need to know exactly what it is you want to do. And then you just execute on it. And a lot of the time, that's something that can kind of keep you from taking the step, because we feel pressure to already have the full plan before we start. And that's where we start doubting ourselves or start doubting the decision. Is this the right decision for me? Does this mean that I'm not good enough to go ahead, to move forward with this? Does this mean that I'm not capable enough to live up to this dream? It breaks down for a lot of people because not everyone has that clear vision. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. That has to do with your natural advantage and what your natural process is. Once you understand that, you can also see why it is that may be the place where you're getting stuck. It might just be that your natural process is one that doesn't have that clear vision, but only has that sense of it. And you need to collect some data. You need some information in order to clarify that goal. And one of my mentors shared something that the way that she does it, she tries something else for 90 days. That's a long enough time to get a good feeling of something, but it's not too long that we procrastinate on it. And it's not so short that you stress yourself out that everything needs to happen today. So if you're thinking of making a change, especially if it's a bigger change and you're having these feelings of fear and doubt around it, it might be helpful to just say, I'm just going to test this out. I'm going to experiment with it for the next 90 days. And I'm just going to do small things, like I'm just going to talk to someone about this. I'm going to write a paragraph about it. See if I can explain it. And maybe as a next step, let me show this paragraph to someone I trust. And just see how that person responds to it. And then after 90 days, you can assess. Sometimes you've noticed, this actually doesn't really feel good. Or initially I thought it was interesting, but now it just kind of, Or you're like, no, hard pass. This turns out to be pretty horrible. Or I can't see myself still doing this in a year. And then there's your answer, right? And sometimes you might notice that the more you experiment with something, the more you talk about it with people, it's like, the more I think about this, the better I feel about this. And that's kind of your answer, right? These were some thoughts that I had after these conversations of the past week. I hope it was helpful. I want to end this episode by mentioning that we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of this very podcast, Productive Introvert Community. Yay! Thank you all so much for being here and for supporting the podcast. If you've been following, you know it was a little bit touch and go there for a while. And most podcasts actually don't make it through the first year. And boy, did I feel that. So I want to really, really thank you for all your support, because without your support, I probably would not have made it through the year. So I want to celebrate this, and what better way to celebrate than by giving you something as a thank you. I'm taking this whole month to organize a giveaway. I've decided to give away a free habit style starter kit. This is a completely custom kit that I will create for you, and it includes a quiz to discover your habit style, a detailed description and a video that's also custom to your style, and a worksheet with 1 key habit that will help you to make the most of your style. If you want to have a chance to win this habit style starter kit, here's what you do. Go to the description and you'll find a link there to a form with 1 question. Answer this 1 question and you'll be entered into the giveaway. The question is, what's the one thing holding you back from learning habits that last? Some of you have already sent your answer. Thank you so much for participating, and your names are all going into my hat, and I will pick a winner on July 13th. So you have until July 6th, the official 1-year anniversary of the podcast, to enter this giveaway. Go to the form and send me your answer to that question. By the way, I know that some of you may want to engage, but you don't really want to send me your details. I completely respect that. So I've made it so that you can also fill in the form anonymously. Do keep in mind that if you choose that option, you won't be entered into the giveaway because I need to know who you are to gift you the kit. But I still wanted to make that an option because I really, really appreciate you for sharing your thoughts, even if you don't want to share your name with me. And I want to thank you in advance for submitting the form. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and let's talk again next week. Thank you for listening to the Productive Introvert Community Podcast. If you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're ready to thrive in your own way, then connect with me on thefrankermessage.com/contact.